Hello and welcome to another practice in your pain relief journey for women. My name is Edith. I am your certified yoga and meditation instructor, and I am so excited to guide you through today's practice. This is yoga for lower back pain relief. All you need is yourself, a yoga mat, a comfortable, quiet place to practice, and I do recommend bringing along an extra blanket or towel that you can fold up and use as extra padding during our time together. Thank you so much for joining me in this sweet self-care moment. Meet me on the mat and let's begin our journey. Starting with our child's pose, we have two modifications to offer you today. Option number one is going to be the slightly deeper stretch, while option number two will be a little gentler and milder on the body. Stay tuned if you're unsure as we go through both. For option number one, child's pose, we'll start in our tabletop position. Open your knees as wide as the mat and bring the big toes to touch behind you. Push your hips back to your heels and start to walk your hands forward, melting your heart down towards the earth. You can either rest lifted up on your forearms, or you can extend the arms fully and allow your forehead to rest on the mat. Begin breathing deeply and relaxing here. For option number two, we'll bring the inner thighs and knees together, sitting on tops of our heels and feet. When you're ready, melt the heart forward so that the chest is lying on top of your thighs. You can turn your head to the side and let it rest towards the floor while you reach the arms back and let the tops of your hands fall onto the mat. This is your option two, where you'll rest and breathe. As you settle into the option that honors your body best today, I invite you to begin breathing deeply in through the nose and slowly and fully out through the mouth. You can also allow your eyes to close here, as we'll give ourselves some time and space to rest and release. As we rest and breathe here, with every inhale, you can visualize sending your breath to the lower back and the hips area, feeling that gentle expansion as the breath fills you up. With every exhale, feel your heart softening a little closer towards the floor as you allow yourself to surrender and melt. We'll take just a few more moments to relax in our child's pose. Take one final breath here, and as you exhale, start to lift your head. Whichever option you're in, bring the palms in front of you and let the hands help guide you as you roll up through the spine. For those of you with the knees open, bring them back together, and we'll meet here sitting nice and tall. Take a deep breath and roll the shoulders back, coming back to center. From here, we'll come into a tabletop position, bringing wrists under shoulders and knees under hips. If you haven't already, this is a great moment to spread out that folded blanket or towel and place it under the knees for a little more comfort and support. On our next inhale, we'll begin moving through the spine. Breathing in to drop the belly down and open the heart. This is our cow pose. As you exhale, arch the spine, And allow the head and neck to hang between the shoulders. This is our cat pose. I invite you to take 4 or 5 more rounds, allowing your breath to lead the way. Breathing in to open the heart, breathing out to arch the spine. Feel free to close your eyes as you create these flowing waves through the body, moving at your own pace. And we'll take our final round, breathing in, and breathing out. Meet me back in that neutral tabletop, and we'll spread the palms nice and wide, tuck all 10 toes, slowly reach the hips up and back. And you can give both knees a nice generous bend here as we arrive in our downward facing dog. We're only here for 3 deep breaths, and let's see if we can walk out the feet. So bending one knee a little deeper, straightening the other, and then switching as we breathe. Last breath. And exhale, coming into stillness. Next, inhale, bend both knees a little deeper. Exhale, walk the feet towards the top of the mat. You can spread the feet about as wide as your mat and give your knees another nice deep bend. Allow your head, neck, and shoulders to hang, and decide if it feels good to hold onto the elbows, further releasing through the lower back. You might like to start gently swaying side to side, or shaking the head yes and no. We'll take 3 breaths here. Beautiful. On an exhale, if you're holding onto the elbows, release. We'll all bring the hands down to the mat. Step your right foot between the hands. Slowly and carefully step your left foot back, lowering your knee down to your blanket or towel. Again, finding that extra comfort and support. We're here in our low lunge position, opening up through the hip flexors, which is so good for any tension we might be holding in the lower back. Let's see if we can lift the heart, shoulders down, and keep the neck long as we take about 5 breaths here. If at any time this pose feels too intense in the hips and lower body for you, you'll just walk this back knee in so that it's more directly beneath your hip point. The hips and the lower back are so closely connected that often, if we spend a lot of our time sitting, our hip flexors can become really tight, and that directly translates to discomfort in the lower back region. By taking poses like our low lunge here, this helps to relieve the tension in the hip flexors and also gives permission to the lower back to release any holding and gripping that it might be doing in compensation. This is a pose where if you have yoga blocks at home or even books, you can also place those underneath your hands for extra support. Let's take our final breath in our low lunge. Perfect. And carefully pushing the floor away, I'm going to start to pull my hips back until I can pick up my right foot and send it behind me, returning to our tabletop position. Right away back to our down dog, lifting the hips high, spreading the fingertips, 3 deep breaths as we walk out the feet. And remember to relax your head and neck. Bring the legs to stillness. Breathe in to bend both knees deeply. Breathe out to walk the feet towards the top of the mat. Coming back into your ragdoll forward fold. Relax the upper body, bend both knees. Feel free to grab opposite elbow and once again find that gentle sway. On your next exhale, release the elbows if you were holding them and bring the hands down to the floor. This time, left foot steps between the hands and the right foot steps carefully back. Lower your knee down to the floor. Coming into our low lunge pose, here's where you can decide if this already is feeling a little too intense in the hips and you need that knee more directly beneath your hip point. Remember, that's your gentler option. Otherwise, you can carefully move the knee back and settle into the pose to the level that feels right for you. And we start to breathe. Full inhales through the nose and long, slow exhales out through the mouth, helping us work to release tension and tightness. Great job. We'll take our last couple breaths here. And on an exhale, push the palms away from the floor and pull the hips back. Carefully walk that left foot until you can return to your tabletop position. From our tabletop, cross the ankles and find a comfortable seat. We'll make our way all the way down to lying on our backs now. When you make it down to lying on your back, hug both knees in towards your chest. Begin to rock gently side to side, massaging your lower back. If it feels good, you can draw circles with the knees. We'll take a few moments to breathe and reset here. Slowing down and stopping at center, we'll keep hugging that right knee in, interlacing the fingertips over the right shin as we extend the left leg out long in front of us, allowing it to lay flat on our mat. You can open up your knee slightly out to the side here and guide your knee a little closer towards the right shoulder, down towards the floor. Or down towards the floor. This is our knee to chest pose. Breathe deep and let go. Nice job. Let's start to bring that left leg back in and plant your left foot on the mat. Transitioning now into our reclined pigeon, crossing the right ankle over the top of the left thigh. This is your option 1. You might already start to feel that stretch, that sensation in the outer right hip. If this is enough for you, this is where you'll stay. If you're ready to go deeper in reclined pigeon, you'll float that bottom left foot and reach the arms around and through. You can either interlace the hands over that left shin or behind the left thigh, gently pulling the legs closer towards the heart. This is where we'll breathe and rest. We'll give ourselves a couple more deep breaths here. On an exhale, slowly release. Bringing the left foot down to the floor if you had it lifted and uncrossing the right leg. Stretch out the right leg and allow it to rest on the mat as you hug the left knee in towards the chest. Once again, interlacing the fingers over the shin and drawing the knee down towards the floor and the left shoulder. Take one more breath. And then pull that right leg back in, planting the right foot on the mat. Coming into reclined pigeon, cross the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Remember, this is our option 1 where you're welcome to stay if this feels best in your body. If you'd like to go deeper, join me in option 2 by floating the right foot, reaching the arms through, and gently pulling the legs a little closer towards the chest. Taking our last couple breaths. And on an exhale, release everything, lowering the right foot to the floor, uncrossing the left leg. For our final pose, we have two options. I invite you to choose the one that's most available and accessible and feels the best in your unique body. Option number one will be one final hip and lower back opener and release, and that's our reclined butterfly. And so to do that, we'll just let the knees fall open and bring the soles of feet together. You can decide how far away from the pelvis you want the heels to be, and that'll dictate how deep you go into the stretch. Settle into option one if this feels best for you, and this is where you'll rest for our last few minutes together. For those of you who would like to join me in option two, you will need a wall nearby your yoga mat, and this is our legs up the wall pose. We'll simply scoot to about 6 inches away from the wall. Start by lying on your side, and then turn onto your back. One leg at a time. Bring the heels up to rest against the wall. Allow the feet to fall and turn out. Let the knees gently bend and soften and surrender through the upper body. This is one of the most effective and easy poses for relieving lower back pain. It helps to reduce swelling in the legs, improve circulation, and release the lower back and hip muscles. If you're here in option two with me, we will also allow the eyes to close and rest here for our final few minutes together. If you're in that option one reclined butterfly pose, you can bring the hands to the outer thighs and press the knees back together. For those of you who are with me in our legs up the wall pose, one leg at a time, we'll bring our feet down to the floor. We'll all roll onto our sides and slowly and carefully make our way up to a seated position. This is where we'll meet each other to close our practice today. So take your time, there is no rush. As you join me here, if it resonates, bring your hands to your heart center. And we'll close our practice with a final deep breath together. Breathing in gratitude for yourself and your body. Breathing out, remembering that you deserve this time of self-care. I bow to you, and from my heart to yours, I thank you for joining me in another one of our pain relief videos for women. I hope that this practice for lower back pain relief has served and supported you. And remember, you can come back to this anytime you're ready to release that discomfort, tightness, or tension that you might be holding. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video in this series. Until then, take care.